Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is September the 18th, 2024. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm going to say I'm doing okay. We're going to level it out to an okay today. But hopefully your Wednesday was good. Hopefully you humped and didn't get humped. Let's see. Let's just get into it. What was work like? It was fine. It was good. Like, it's one of those things I really don't want to complain too much because really I'm getting upset for like the last hour of my workday pretty much, and even within that maybe about like 15 to like not even 20 minutes of it. But we had funnel cake today, so a little bit of food corner. I'm gonna sprinkle that in there. It was good. We had funnel cake, yum. You're not gonna be mad at funnel cake, right? With powdered sugar. They also threw in a nice iced lemonade. It was very cute, like summer carnival fair food, whatever. Normally I feel like we have more funnel cake days, but in this case we just had a bunch of ice cream days at work. So, hey, cool. Love the little treats. Not gonna, unionize or whatever, but hey, we got that. Yay. But it was good, and also you could go out for more, but I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. It was really feeling, I couldn't even finish the first one. Like, not all of it. I got most of it down though. Y'all know me. But, yeah, I mean, also, I'm still sick. I didn't mention that, but, like, I'm still feeling it. I'm still in the cold. Long-time listeners of the show know that, like, colds are definitely, like, one of my weaknesses. Like, once I get one, it hangs around for forever, and I just am miserable, and I whine about it all the time. So, I'm trying to muscle through. I'm soldiering through that. And the whole hubbub of eating funnel cake, I didn't really, like, drink my energy drink, so I'm, like, pretty tired as well. So as I'm getting into this last hour, I'm just like, dude, I'm so toast. I'm just so over it. And then my little, whatever assistant, whatever you want to call it, helper, person, whatever, comes down to help. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And don't get me wrong, like I've said I had a good time talking to this person. They're cool, but something I kind of haven't said, and it kind of led to it, like a culmination today, is that like I know my political beliefs are not aligned with this guy, with this motherfucker, and like that's fine. I've sat with the maintenance hogs, and I just fucking yuck it up with them. If they want to go on a tangent about how much they want to glaze Trump off and how much better America's going to be that way. You gotta let them talk. You do that shit, you mind your business, whatever. I'm really not trying to fucking start a fight and go to HR. It's not worth it to me, okay? I'm not trying to fight these fucking fights when I'm trying to make some fucking money, period. So, he comes down and he immediately starts with the Haitian dog thing, which I'm like, bro, this is a late ass fucking story and not what we talk about. And I'm just like, for some reason, I immediately there's no some reason about it. I'm addicted to talking about news and politics. So like, there's a knee-jerk reaction to me to just immediately talk about it. So of course, I'm going to talk about it and say my piece. And I could kind of tell that he didn't agree really maybe with what I was saying. And then we bounced into Trump. And like, he's like, yeah, like, I don't really like him, but like, he definitely does what needs to be done. And I immediately was just like, I felt like I was at the end of Godfather 2, and I wanted to just boom this motherfucker and just let him go off the boat. You feel me? It was a Fredo-like betrayal. And for the first time, I'm just like, dog, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about politics right now. And like, I was like literally having like this internal mental like where I was just like, what's crazy? Like, I talk about politics on my podcast a lot because he knows I'm a little podcaster or whatever. But I'm like, I don't want to talk about politics today. I just don't. I'm tired and I just don't want to. I want to like a little bit of like an internal fucking monologue, not internal monologue, but like a monologue about how they're all bad, whatever. You know how I feel about this shit in the long run, in summation. But I just wanted to diffuse it. But I just realized that I'm like, yeah, dude, this is where you break my heart because I knew this is who you were. I can always like. This isn't a superpower or anything. This is just a matter of being fucking observant. You can always tell a person's political beliefs by just listening to them and just, see how they carry on about their day to day. It's not usually that hard to figure out. Sometimes, yes, people surprise me, but like, that's usually only because they're very weird and erratic and like, they're the type of person who goes, oh, I'm like an actual independent voter and I'm going to vote this way one time and I'm going to vote the other way next. It's like, okay, I guess that's a fun, quirky way to live your life, and by all means, that's interesting. But like more times than not, the shit is kind of set in stone, and you know what you're playing for and playing to. This is usually a fucking two-part. What am I usually? Always a two-party system, man. Like stop playing me, stop wasting my fucking time. So, it just was what it was. I was immediately just like, I kept looking at my phone, like, TikTok, 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 as he's just talking about bullshit. I segued the conversation away to something else, and I just realized I'm like, yeah, this is probably the end of me enjoying this little heart-to-heart little chit-chats we keep having. Because I can't get rid of this guy. There's just no way, But he's not as bad as some of the other ones I've had. So you just take it. You take what you get, Like I said, it's not my first rodeo with people like this. I just... what a bummer. We had good talks about Rapture and whatnot, and this is what it led to. You motherfucker. Let's see here. What else is there? There's also more things that are the reason why I'm a little bit pressed. I'm a little bit panini pressed right now. There's another mouse in the house. Like, y'all, there's another mouse in this motherfucking house. I can't win. I cannot win. Like, I was just sitting, minding my business. I think it was like post my night walk or whatever. And, yes, it's all coming back to me. I'm wrapping up an episode and I just see the motherfucker run through my hallway and then beeline into my little laundry area room where I keep my little laundry, even though I go to the laundromat. And I was just like, it was so funny, the difference in how I reacted. Like, I was still upset, but I didn't freak out, this isn't my first rodeo now. Like, now I'm used to this in a bit. So I'm like, okay, I'll call maintenance. I'm like, okay, let's set up the traps, and then we'll do that. So I set up the traps, actually more ones. It's not just glue. It's not just the fucking poison bait. Daddy got the ripper out. Look, we ain't playing no more, okay? I done lost my conscience on this shit. I never had it. But, it is what it is. I'm more worried about, is there a whole infestation? Is this whole complex infested now? Who fucking knows? I really want to get the fuck out of here, especially because, like, y'all know my landlords are fucks. They're all landlords are fucks. Let's just be fucking real, dude. I don't care if your landlord gives you a fucking Thanksgiving turkey. He's still a piece of shit rat lord. But my landlords are no different. And at least they're nicer over the phone. I'll take the little service we get, right? So I call them. I tell them the situation, and they're like, "Oh, we're supposed to have a pest control come in today anyway, so like that's good." And I'm like, "Bruh, I done seen pest control in action on this motherfucker. They literally spray a little thing, and they don't even hit all the rooms. They just go through the main hallway, and they leave my fucking apartment. Awesome, thank you for the invasion of my privacy, and it doesn't do anything. Awesome, I love it here. No, I really need to leave. I'm just so fucking broke, y'all. And to calculate leaving the way I want to leave, because yes, I'm gonna be leaving in like maybe the bougiest way possible. I literally just want to like a fucking new video game save. I just want a new life. I just want to fucking leave everything I have here, or like throw it out, whatever, and then just start in another apartment, just new everything. That's not cheap to do. And not to mention, even if I didn't want to do it that way, it still wouldn't be cheap. But we'll be getting to maybe some alleviations to that in terms of like the housing market and apartments and whatever. Well, we'll get to that actually. It's a little bit of newsworthy talk. But yeah, so I'm a bit of a bind there. Essentially got hoed by the landlords on this one. They're not really going to help me out here. Like I said, I got shitty coworkers. It just wasn't my favorite day. It just wasn't my favorite 24 hours, if I'm being honest with you. But I had a really good workout, despite being sick still. So that was good. That was nice. We'll take the victories we can take. And overall, like, the day was good. We had a funnel cake. Let me get to the food corner, actually. Food corner was solid, even though, once again, with the sickness, I like the whole time I was cooking, I'm like, Isaiah, you should have just made soup, dude. Like, you're not able to make this Mexican meal the way you want. And even though I did, it was good. It was classic, beef and rice bowl with the tortillas, and some chips. It was yummy. It was good. But just the amount of time it took, and like, it just wasn't as fulfilling to me because I'm filled to the brim with mucus. It just didn't hit the same way. But I was, okay with making it. But yeah, that's where we're at with it. We're now in the phase of post birthday blues. I've realized as much as I love this season, like due to the economics of it all, due to, my parents died. My mom died in October. My dad died in November. And I'm just like, this shit just starts to suck. It just starts to fucking grind my shit down. And, that sucks. But I'm really trying to make the most of this shit. I'm really trying to keep it moving, stay bright, stay positive. So yeah, there's that. I know I've went way too long. I went way too long on the blog mode. I'm so sorry about it. We'll see how we move through this new shit, but hopefully you've enjoyed this. Hopefully you enjoyed this process that I do. This bit of catharsis that I do day to day. You know what I mean? Ooh, and I'll say, a piercing light, I know I mentioned it at the end of a podcast this week. I'm going to keep talking about it. And I think the name of the podcast is Lorehammer 40K, or 40K Lorehammer, whatever, Lore Masters, whatever. I'm still not naming it correctly, and I'm not going to look it up for the sake of time. But it has been so nice learning about Warhammer. I don't know, I find myself, not listening to, my history podcasts that I normally have been. I'm trying to catch up on this and that, but I'm, letting it fall by the wayside. Not listening to my economy shit. I'm slacking. But, it's been so cool. It's just so cool. I learned about orcs today. I love learning about orcs. It's my favorite fucking fantasy thing. And, Warhammer has great orcs. I think that's so cool. So, that's neat. That's nice. And they even have super cool space elves. Learning about that today. So, there's a silver linings in my playbook. Let's go ahead and take our startup. Let's finally get into this. Let's get to work. And then we'll see what happens. All right. First story comes from CBS News. Ukraine hits Russia with massive drone attack on military depot in Toropets, causing huge explosions. Ukrainian drones struck a large military depot in a town deep inside Russia overnight, causing a huge blaze and prompting the evacuation of some local residents. A Ukrainian official and Russian news reports said Wednesday. The strike came after a senior U.S. diplomat said Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky recently announced, but still confidential plan to win the war can work and help end the conflict that's now in its third year. Excuse me. Ooh. That's part substance, part mucus. Ukraine claimed the strike destroyed military warehouses in Toropets, a town in Russia's Tver region. We're going to say Tver. Tver region, about 240 miles northwest of Moscow and 300 miles from the border with Ukraine. Now, a bit of side news that I haven't really been talking about is the UK and the US. So, Joe Biden, Keir Starmer, or some other UK equivalent, not equivalent, but head guy, was saying hey, there's two halves to it. From the UK side, they're way more, I don't want to say way more, but they're more yes, we want to see Ukraine win this war. We're okay with them using long-range weapons. At least they seem more on board with it. When you looked at the Biden side, they're yeah, we want Ukraine to win, but we're a little bit more hesitant. And you heard from Putin, look, if you guys lift the embargo to shoot long-range missiles into Russia, we're going to have a problem. We're going to start aiming at NATO because this is a NATO issue at that point. So Biden's been a little bit more, I don't know, maybe we won't do that. But at the same time, we know that to some extent they've been using these long-range artillery or whatever to do the whole shit with the border. And that's how they secured some border towns, if I'm not mistaken. So it's something that's already in play, and Zelensky's been trying to push it to get more and more. And it's look, this is our defense. We need to be able to have this defense. They're attacking us. They keep pushing into the they keep pushing us, period. We need to do this. You need to give us a green light. But it looks like maybe they haven't, which is kind of what I assumed. It didn't seem like Biden was that on board with it. He wasn't screaming from the mountaintops about it. So I wasn't surprised. But this is a newer development in the sense of they're saying, hey, we have developed a lot of drones. We have a lot. So we can use these drones. You guys aren't going to stop us from using them. You're okay with that or whatever. We're just going to pull the trigger on these things. So that looks to be what they were using here in this Torpet situation. From what I gathered in reading this article, what I listened to the BBC, essentially they sent a bunch of these drones. It's a massive attack. From Russia's side, if I'm not mistaken, they say that they were successful in taking down a lot of them. But regardless of whether they were not successful, you saw from the fucking thumbnail, these drones, they caught on fire and then still hit enough of the target. They still hit this warehouse, and it's a whole depot. So we've talked about depots full of ammunition and shit, and like these motherfuckers got missiles, all kinds of fucking shit. The works. According to an official, the depot housed Iskander and Toshka U missiles, as well as glide bombs and artillery shells. He said the facility caught fire in the strike and was burning across an area 4 miles wide. This explosion was so big that NASA saw it. They saw the heat signature from space. So that's fucking crazy. That's intense, and prompted some evacuations. So, I mean, in a lot of ways, yes, this is a big win for fucking Zelensky and Ukraine. But, like, cool, you can throw this in the sack and say, yeah, awesome. But, like, you're just hitting them. It's not doing enough. It's not hitting them into a point where it's stopping them from advancing on you. So there's that. Also, another thing I think I haven't mentioned in the whole Ukraine-Russia shit that's been developing over the month is I think that Russia got some more missiles from Iran. So that was a development. This whole tit for tat's kind of been going on. But I'm like, bro, this is nothing burger talk. I do not fucking care. But I figured this is the perfect time to kind of mention it in this article, in this moment. So yeah, there's that. Speaking of fronts, let's actually go to the Middle East. We're actually right back in Lebanon, and this shit's crazy, dude. It's almost like, the chapter 1 was this pager explosion by Israel and into, Lebanon and Syria, hitting like Hezbollah operatives. Even though it did a lot of damage to just civilians in general. Like I said, an 8-year-old kid was killed. I listened to the story. Apparently, the kid picked up her dad's pager, and that's how she fucking died. And I'm like, fucking shit, dude. You heard this shit going off, you pick it up, it's hot, and then boom, you're dead. It's just over. But you're just a casualty and a statistic now. Like, that's it. Like, that's for Israel, this is a fucking success. They eventually have come out and said it. Not like super bold face or anything like that, but there are some people coming out and saying, like, yeah, we did that shit. Let's talk chapter 2. Chapter 1, pager. Chapter 2, walkie-talkie. Second day of deadly explosions. At least 20 people were killed. Sorry, this is from CNN. At least 20 people were killed and more than 450 were injured after walkie-talkies detonated in Lebanon, according to officials. A day after a wave of pager explosions killed at least 12 people, so the number went up, and injured more than 2,800. Hezbollah said 16 members were killed Wednesday, but it didn't elaborate on the circumstances. I don't know if this also hit Syria either. This is just a little blurb, like kind of like a live update style situation. To me, this is yet again just another message. It is supposed to instill fear that, like, look, you can't even operate anymore without us being there to blow your shit up. We are in the fucking mess with you. We are in the fucking air you breathe right now. That is essentially what Israel is trying to do, the message they're trying to send with this kind of shit. Excuse me. I mean, it's not going to work, though. It's just going to provoke more aggression. And I think they know that, too, and they do not fucking care. They do not mind. And all that war is going to be fine, and they know it's going to be fine. Why? Because they know the U.S. and the rest of the fucking West is going to fucking back them. And it's grim, and it's fucking barbaric. It's like and I hate to use this analogy, but it's like the pipsqueak kid who knows they have an older brother and their older brother's friends, and they're just walking through the fucking, like, playground at recess, just fucking mollywopping the motherfuckers that they feel that they have a grudge with. And it's like, yeah, don't fuck with us. Don't do it. You know what's gonna happen. Because you have this fucking big-ass fucking motherfucker behind you to back your play. That's what's happened every fucking time there's been a massive conflict where it has gone all out. Essentially, you just have the fucking U.S. fucking give you some B-52 bombers. And in this situation, it's literally already there waiting off the coast. It's crazy. Like, we just up their ass. Like they're supposed to be our client state in the situation, but it's just like, oh, we need them so badly to be this that we are going to give them everything they asked for. It's crazy. Instead of telling them to stop this shit, cut it out. So I don't really have any details on this walkie-talkie situation. I imagine it went down very similar to the pager, where they kind of invaded the supply chain somehow and were able to put some kind of explosive into the walkie-talkie and then just waited for the time to do it, you know? Or it might have been set off in like a timing situation. I heard that was like a theory when it came to like the Ismail Haniyeh thing. Do you remember that? We covered that, where it was like they literally, that was in Iran, but, you know, it affected the Gaza situation because we're talking about Hamas. Jeez, I almost forgot. But essentially they were able to either flip a guard and then, or somehow get a guy, flip somebody to get into that room, into that house. And that's why it's like, it kind of maybe had to go that down that way, because it was like a timing thing. Like, we have this bomb, it's set to go off at this time. He has to be here at this time. Like, it's just going to line up. I mean, shit, man, Mossad does nasty work, man. It's grim shit. It is the only thing that I kind of believe in when it comes to the nation state of Israel and their military defense, because at the end of the day, they seem to have the same problem as the West, that it's like, damn, you can't beat motherfuckers in some sandals right now. They don't have anything, but somehow they're dusting your fucking shit. You can't fucking keep an area clear. So, what? You have to resort to, once again, the big money shit. Missile strikes, bombs, missiles, whatever. Like, okay, cool, but yet you're still getting fucking mopped, because otherwise, why are you still here? Unless it's, once again, all out, we just want to fucking torture you guys, genocide you guys, cleanse you guys out of here, so that we can make a Pizza Hut where you guys live. But anyway, I'm in the weeds. This is supposed to be literally like a 5-minute thing, tops, but not even. Y'all know me. I'm on my shit right now. Let's see. Let's go to the next article, though. A bit of an update from the Associated Press. Ship owner cut corners on repairs before deadly Baltimore bridge collapse. The U.S. says in $100 million lawsuit. This was something that I was expecting, right? Like, it seemed like a very inevitable thing once we covered it. Literally, a whole ass fucking ship has a malfunction, and all the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore just gets leveled, done. Not to mention 6 people dead, gone. So something's got to come of it. But I definitely remember, like, okay, I'm glad that I didn't hear too much about, like, oh, people are mad at the crew operators of the Dolly, which is the name of the ship, you know, because they did the best that they could, from what I heard. Like, it was a pretty harrowing moment. They literally had no control over the ship. Like, the whole power was gone, and this thing is just coasting into the bridge. And then last minute, they get power back on, but they just couldn't fix it. They couldn't correct it. And shit just happens. But that being said, I remember hearing, like, oh, this ship had a similar problem when it was traveling internationally from another port, and literally, like, crashed into a port trying to leave because it had some kind of electrical issue. So it's like, ooh, this is adding up to something criminal, right? Like, this seems like someone's gonna come for them. So, I wanted to get into this article. Let's do it. Let's dive in. The owner and manager of the cargo ship that caused the deadly Baltimore bridge collapse recklessly cut corners and ignored known electrical problems on the vessel, the Justice Department alleged Wednesday in a lawsuit seeking to recover more than $100 million that the government spent to clear the underwater debris and reopen the city's port. Yeah, that's another thing I didn't really talk about, is, like, literally when I say it flattened the bridge, like, part of the bridge fell into the fucking, what is it? Not the sea or whatever, but it fell in the water. And, like, they had to go out of their way to get it out. Like, that took weeks to fucking do. The port was fucking shut down. Not to mention, you couldn't travel on this fucking bridge. It's a major fucking thoroughfare. So that's a whole fucking disaster. It's still not fucking fixed, obviously. So it's just a whole ass fucking mess. So $100 million is like, okay, I get it. They're gonna get their fucking, they're trying to get a bit of their money back here, right? But the lawsuit filed in Maryland provides the most detailed account yet of cascading series of failures on the Dolly that left its pilots and crew helpless in the face of looming disaster. The Justice Department alleges that mechanical and electrical systems on the massive ship have been jury-rigged and improperly maintained, culminating in a power outage moments before it crashed into the support column on the Francis Scott Key Bridge in March. 6 construction workers were also killed when the bridge toppled into the water. It's also worth mentioning that the construction company, I had it highlighted, but I'm not there yet, but essentially they are also suing as well. So which also makes sense. Bronner Builders, which employ the victims, filed its own claim for damages Wednesday, saying that the company lost 6 beloved employees as well as the construction equipment and vehicles they were using. So that's fair. That adds. Obviously, Dolly's like, oh yeah, we look forward to defending ourselves and setting the record straight in court, but literally the inspectors that they had after this incident said we had to stop like our inspection because it was so unsafe. It was so unsafe. Like the level of like neglect that they have here is so bad that we cannot continue the inspection that we're doing. So that's not good. I'm going to, summarize this a bit here, but essentially the way things went down, it seems to be more or less unavoidable. There was so much electrical shit that just hadn't been attended to and hadn't been fixed that this was going to happen sooner or later, and it did. So that's kind of how I'm interpreting the situation. But once again, I really do want to say that like the crew members that day did the best they could. And I'm sure you're in a situation where, look, you know what's going on here. You know the ship is fucked up. You just want to get this shit in this situation from Baltimore to Sri Lanka. That's what you're trying to do tonight. That's what you're doing, okay? And now you've got to fucking do the best you can. All the lights are off. All the power's out. Like, you're just trying to do the best you can here. Like, they did all they could. And I didn't want to see them on the hook for this in any kind of way. But definitely the company as a whole, yeah, they got some shit. The ship owner or whatever, he's got some, answering to do for sure. So, yeah, there's that. I wanted to get that in there. Let's go ahead. I've talked a lot. I've bitched even more. But let's close out on what is technically a good note. I'm not going to do a great job explaining how it's a good thing, but whatever. I'm going to do my fucking best. But before I do, let's take our last break, and we'll close it out. All right, from CBS News. Federal Reserve lowers interest rates by 0.50 percentage points in first cut since 2020. So obviously that maybe not seem so much, 0.5%, but it's a pretty major thing. So much so that initially this was supposed to be just a quarter, like a 0.25%. Situation, but like people were saying like, hey man, y'all waited a long time, like the whole economics of this shit, the whole formula you're cranking, it worked as well as you expected, like unemployment finally started going up, so maybe instead of that 0.25, maybe you make that a 0.5. And essentially the Fed said, you know what, that's fine, we can do that. So it's a good thing. I think that this is definitely a start of some relief here in terms of like cutting the interest rate at least a bit. But let's go ahead and read a bit. Let's read a little. The Federal Reserve on Wednesday said it is cutting its benchmark interest rate by, half a percentage points, marking the first reduction in 4 years, and moving to erase borrowing costs as inflation-weary consumers are grappling with high rates on everything from mortgages to credit cards. Excuse me. The Fed said the cut lowers the federal funds rate into a range of 4.75% to 5%, down from its prior range of 5.25 to 5.5, which had been its highest level in 23 years. The half-point move signals that the Fed is acting aggressively to keep the U.S. economy from stalling, given that historically most rate cuts are 0.25 percentage points. Prior to the decision, some economists had urged the Fed to make a bolder reduction, given signs of weakness in the labor market and a cooling economy. So overall, this is good things. Granted, I don't know how fast this change is going to hit us as consumers in terms of like, are things going to feel better in terms of the housing market? in terms of like getting a car, getting a credit card. I don't know. It was definitely something I was kind of just reminiscing about before I went on, that it is very funny to me that I was able to make it through 2023. And I was like, damn, this shit is hard. This shit is rough. But let's keep going. And I got myself back into a situation where I'm like, fuck, let's... And I realized this too, because I didn't have a credit card, so I'm like, let me get a credit card. Got a credit card, which is like, fuck, that sucks to get a credit card right now. And then some shit happened where I'm like, fuck, I have to get a loan now. So I found a way to get a loan, and I'm like, cool, I'm glad I got this. I needed it, but now I'm like, fuck. And I'm in a situation where it's like the worst time to get into this shit. So I don't know if I'm going to be seeing any kind of relief with this shit. I know I'm talking to you guys about it, but, you know, I'm just a fucking dummy in an armchair. Y'all know this. I'm fucking literally sweating it out with y'all as we speak. But yeah, I hope this is a good thing. But I've said it before, I say it again. The more I learn about the economy, the more I understand why I don't like it. Like, yes, I'm dumb. I hate numbers. That shit fucking sucks. But I also realize, like, I don't like the economy because I don't like the way we live, like, as human beings. Like, I don't think that shit is right. Like, I would like to live in a world where not just us as a nation view the economy the way we do. I want that changed. But I also want us as, like, an international community to change the way that we look at the economy. And I know that's just not going to happen in my lifetime. It's just, I'm not going to live to see that. And, like, I have to, like, curb my enthusiasm about it. So I'm like, yeah, I'm one of those people. I'm one of those Americans who you're never going to convince that the economy is in a good place. Like, I've listened to, like, really smart motherfuckers try to explain the economy to me and how it's not so bad. And I was like, okay, I get it. Cool. But I realized that it's like, it's never going to feel good for me because you guys don't want me to be in that situation. Not the economist per se, but like the system at play here. You know what I mean? So, you know, hopefully you can read between the lines what I'm getting at here. Maybe not. Who gives a shit? But that's it. That's where I want to end it for the rest of this. We can call it close. I know I ran long here. I did. Fuck it. Sorry. But yeah, actually, I didn't say this at the top. I'm taking the next 2 days off. So hopefully you'll be getting a little bit of an earlier episode. Hopefully that's nice. Hopefully you enjoy that. But you know, I'll let you know how things are going to go from here to there. You know, I'll let you know come next recording. But let's see. I got to shill, actually. I'd love to just hand this off and walk away. But if you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Become a newsie today. Patreon.com. Or, yeah, Isaiah News? Oh, God. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. There it is. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Look, sometimes I forget. I'm only human, flesh and blood, man. Anyway, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. If you want to send some free feedback, or, you know, you got to hit me up with something, I don't know, like Sleepless in Seattle style. Let's see, free ways to hit me up, Isaiah News, any of the socials, you know, Isaiah's Newsstand. Find that. Find me, Isaiah, you know, you figure that out. Spell it. It's there. It's right there. Let's see. Hopefully subscribe to YouTube. Really helps out. You hit that button, you get the notifications. That's dope, right? That's cool. Makes my number go up. I love to see that. There's a smile on my face. Gets me closer to monetization. We love to see that too, right? Oh, clap it up for that. You'd love to see me make some money off this shit. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you're a hater. That'd be crazy. Fuck you. You're a hater. No. Let's see here. But yeah, do that on the YouTube. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. Sharing is caring. Rinse and repeat on any of the socials or I say socials like Spotify is a social, but you can leave a comment there too. You can share, you can, you know, do all those cool things. But yeah, that's where I'll leave it. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend, and hopefully I'll see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.